I am Consciously Curious, a podcast for those that are searching for meaning and fulfillment in their lives. My name is Victor Chan, and I'm on a mission to find out why people do what they do. I've interviewed white-collar to blue-collar, entrepreneurs to passion projects, and life is just too short to not produce meaningful work. Thanks for tuning in. Chef Lawrence.
What's going on? Thanks for having me.
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
First time during brunch service yesterday, it was phenomenal. Wife had the Cuban burrito, and I had the Pinoy breakfast burrito.
Nice.
I think I wanted to try the the croquetas, as well as the lumpia. But I had that when we were at dinner service a few months ago.
Yeah, those crossovers.
So then I needed to try the ropa vieja empanadas.
Oh, nice.
And then she had the ube pancakes, fluffiest pancakes.
Thank you.
And then you pour that maple syrup on there, it tastes like chocolate after.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it. When you sent me that, when I saw that you posted that you were there.
You know, I feel bad now because I didn't know that was Raquel. I think Raquel was helping us out. We were at the counter.
Most likely, yeah. Sundays it gets a little crazy on the weekends there. So when you got sat at the bar, I'm like, oh, he must have just walked in. Did you have a reservation or?
No. We came straight from the morning at the museum, and then
nice.
I was just looking at my week, and I was like, I'm talking to Lawrence tomorrow. Like, let's go get brunch at Bayan.
Very nice. I'm glad you enjoyed it. She was like texting me when I was on the way. She was like, ask him if everything was okay, because I know I was like super busy.
Oh wait, she knew?
Oh yeah, once I texted, we need to know. Like once you text me, I'm like, how'd it go? I sent you a picture of you. I'm like, Victor was just in. How'd it go? Yeah.
Oh, I feel really bad.
Don't feel bad.
Sorry, Raquel.
That's what we do.
What made me realize is we're walking back to the car, and I see all the write-ups in the original spot, and I'm like, that looks like Raquel. I'm like, I didn't
know. Yeah.
Totally would have said hi.
Oh, you're fine. Next time.
So how it's coming up on a year with the two locations.
Yeah. I believe May 5th was our first service.
Okay.
So we're about 9 months in.
Yeah. In the new diner spot.
New diner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The original, the OG, has been open since 2018.
Yeah.
So this October will be 7 years.
And to walk me back, and like, so I am late to the Filipino glow up in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I owe a lot of that awareness to my wife as well as Francis Almeida.
Yeah.
Where do you think in the wave, like the Filipino wave, did you guys begin? And it's not just Filipino, it's Cuban as well. But like, did you guys, totally grow this or start this? And I'm curious if it was any different from the current iteration of the diner, like what the OG Bayan Co was like.
Right. Well, so when we first opened in 2018, there was a few Filipino spots before us. Like
okay.
Christina Sabito was a good friend. She had the Pecking Order, which was like a chicken-inspired kind of. She did like grilled, fried, broiled. And when I think about it, like if she opened now, it would kill because everything's about chicken right now. But it was awesome, right? And so then there was Rodelio that had Sunda, rest in peace. He passed away a few years ago.
Wow.
And he was in San Francisco for a while, then he came to Chicago and opened Sunda. And I mean that was a big opening. But then other than that, I mean there was Little Capo. There's place Uncle Mike's has been open for a while, but when we decided to open, it was just like I was working in different restaurants, and I always knew I want to do my own thing. And
yeah.
I was like, before I'm 40, I have to try it. So I was like 36, 37 at the time. So I'm like, it's time. So, we found a small spot in Ravenswood, and it's just a la carte. We opened up a la carte. I thought it was going to be just me, Raquel, a dishwasher, and like that. We would just be fine, maybe do 10 covers for lunch, and then we opened. It was just like we were busy, and very, very surprising and very humbling. It was awesome. Like the first 2 weeks we were running out of food. Like I really didn't have good refrigeration. I had a prep table. I didn't even have a low boy. So we were taking hotel pans, filling it with ice and just like putting 9 pans on there. So it's like, all right, now I actually got to get a cooler. So yeah, those were the days. And Yeah, we were coming up on 5 years, and I had to make a decision of whether to release the place. And then the diner was available. It had closed during the pandemic. Glenn's iconic diner that's been open 17. We used to go all the time. They had great clam chowder and cereal. I don't know if you know them.
No, I didn't know that.
So Glenn's Diner, first of all, it's not really a diner. It's like a seafood shack that sold like 15 different cereals. So when you walked in and you saw that big bar and that was all filled with cereal.
Oh.
We're gonna fill that with alcohol soon. So yeah, it was like you can go there and get seafood and get a cold cereal bowl. Anyways, so the owner, I just was intrigued by the place. The owner would stop by once in a while. I was like, oh, think about coming here. So, essentially closing the smaller restaurant and going to the bigger space. So I'm like, no, I'm going to do both. Like, I just figured we always lack the space at the original space. And then when the diner opened, like they have a full walk-in, that's going to help with catering, weddings and stuff like that.
We're already getting catering orders at the OGs. Okay.
And it would be like, we'd have to close. Like we'd get like a 150 person wedding on the weekend and be like, but we can't do both.
So before this expansion, like how fast did people catch on to the magic of Bayan Co? Like what do you think led to the success of it in the early days?
I don't know. I just feel like it was something different in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I think the Filipino-Cuban thing was kind of intriguing.
Okay.
We make good food. Like that's what it is. Raquel and I always said, make the food great. And I was behind the kitchen. I was behind the stove every day. So 90%, I'd say 90% of every plate I was coming from my hands. Like I love cooking. And then same thing with the front. Raquel was working the front every single day. We always say give service with a hug. Bayan Co means my country, our culture type situation. So it was like, we're going to show who we are. We spent 15 years cooking everyone else's food, which was fine. I learned a lot. Like it gave me a skill set. So when we did our restaurant, we're like, we're gonna put ourselves out there and, give the service and food that's truly us. And I think that's the key. That was the key, at least. And I think that's what's kind of kept us going, really.
Wow. How long was that conversation or dialogue between you and Raquel to keep both places then?
Not long.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was like, we just wanted to make sure we were ready for it.
Yeah.
And we knew we wanted to keep Glenn's as a diner.
Okay.
Because they had such a following for 17 years.
Sure.
We're like, let's do a Cuban Filipino diner.
Yeah.
Simple. Like there's a very specific type of Filipino breakfast, which is called silags. So that's any protein with egg and garlic rice.
Some of the fluffiest garlic rice we've had too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've had it at dinner.
Appreciate it. Yeah. And so it's like that. And then there's Cuban sandwiches and stuff like that. So we're like, it makes a lot of sense. And then doing, the biggest thing was doing the all day. So we're open 9 till 9. Obviously we have a little break.
Pretty much.
6 days a week. But just got to find the right staff. And, we knew it'd be hard, but it's actually been a pleasant surprise. Like we barely have any turnover. Everyone's really happy working there. It's just like knock on wood, right? Like everyone's kind of enjoying it. And then, we're adding a beverage program now. So that'll kind of change the game a little bit for us.
Was that the plan from the very beginning?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why it took this long?
We tried applying for both. For some reason, it just took longer for the liquor license. And
okay.
Yeah.
And that's different from BYOB? Like
yeah.
Okay.
We'll still be BYOB.
Yeah.
Like if you want to bring your own champagne or something in.
Yeah. Do you still need a permit for that?
No.
Okay.
You don't need a permit for
it. For BYOB. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You just announce that you're BYOB and people come in, pay, whatever, maybe $15 for a bottle or something, and then you just serve it to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The rhyme. I don't know. Just there, and then it's funny because then after we opened, not saying it's because of us, but then Kasama was like a year after.
Okay.
Then Joe from Boonies, and then Taste of Philippines. Kat, she's great too. Like and it just kind of happened organically. I don't know. Like it just happened. And then all of a sudden, Chicago's got like 4, 5, 6 different other Filipino restaurants,
yeah.
which is great. You know,
Yeah.
you got a good, healthy selection here.
Have you noticed a lot of titas and titos coming in to grab dinner
all the time?
Yeah, I'm curious. It's like, because is there any part of you that's like, I want other Filipinos to see this and to see the good work that we're doing.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they hate it. Sometimes they'll let you know that they don't like it.
Your own people are the hardest crowd to please sometimes.
Always.
Yeah.
We win them over. We don't take it. I don't take it too hard, too much. Like a lot of times I'll just explain, like, this is how we do it. This is how, my family did it. So sometimes, this is not Filipino food. I'm like, this is different. I'm like, you're Americanizing it. I'm like, well, that's just what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and they come back though,
Yeah.
They usually come back because we give good service and we try to, figure out what they might like, and that's it. But we can't please everybody. Yeah.
It's still intimate enough to where, and I'm sure that was the same feeling in the OG spot, to where it feels like you're in your home.
Yeah. Yeah. That has a lot to do with just the environment we're trying to just put out there. Like, we don't wear uniforms. We tell everyone just like, know the food. However you kind of pitch it or sell it, it's gonna, be yourself. And, we just hire good people, and we just want people to feel like they're literally walking into our home every time they come in to eat.
Yeah, yeah.
Whether it's 150 covers or just 10, it's weird. So,
walk me back to your introduction to the culinary world, because you said you were turning 40 and you're like, I got to do something on my own.
Right.
Did you enter? Do you feel like at a later point in your life,
I did.
the culinary scene?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was 28 when I moved to Chicago.
Okay, and you're from Canada.
From Windsor, Ontario, Canada.
Wow.
Yeah. Shout out Canada.
Wait, did you know someone here, or did you just want to go to Kendall?
My sister was moving here. Okay. So we have my aunt and my cousin lived here. So we would come to Chicago when we were younger.
Gotcha.
And then my sister, she was going through a divorce, and she was living in South Carolina, and she wanted to move closer to home. And she was like, I'm going to go to Chicago. That's how close she's a dentist. So Chicago was the closest she can get with her license. So she didn't want to take a test again to live in Michigan or somewhere closer to home. So Chicago, cool city. She was like, I'm going to move there. So I was in sales back home in Canada, and I just wanted to, she's my sister. I want to hang out with her, make sure she's good, going through whatever she's going through. So then my mom was like, go to culinary school, like, because you have to go do something.
Your mom? I've never heard that before.
Yeah, because we're like, I'm not going to start like a huge program. So I'm like, what am I going to do? And yeah, she was like, go to culinary school, because at that time, I was cooking a lot at home.
Okay.
I had no restaurant experience. So like, that was like during Emerald and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I was making really fun stuff. I was just like, I remember I made like almond crusted catfish, all this kind of stuff. I was just like, what am I doing?
At home, huh?
At home, yeah, just for fun.
What did your mom do?
My mom's a nurse, obviously.
I didn't want to assume, but it's just like most people. I guess maybe because someone's parents might have been in the culinary world. They're like, you do not want to like work this hard, so don't become a cook, don't become a chef.
My mom didn't understand. Like she didn't. Even myself, we didn't know about that side of the culinary industry. Like my dad worked at Ford Motor Company for 50 years.
Okay.
So we always had hard work in us.
Wow.
And my parents were very open to however, whatever they wanted us to do. Like, obviously, I bet you, like, if they want us to be a doctor, they want, like, my sister's a dentist, my brother's a physical therapist, I became a cook. So it's like, I'm the youngest, so it's kind of just like, whatever Lawrence wants to do, because I was a bit hard to deal with, I guess, with that stuff. Cause school wasn't my thing.
How did you find yourself in sales?
I did retail in high school.
Okay.
I worked at Foot Locker.
Okay.
And I was just like, I talked to people. I was good with that. So I didn't know what to do in school. I was in school for political science. I got my degree.
Okay.
And I just didn't know what to do anymore. I didn't, there was like, okay, maybe I'll be a lawyer, but I was like, no way. Like I was just like,
what was the turnoff? All the reading?
I don't know. Like I watched like Wall Street when I was younger. I thought, I'm like, I'm gonna be a lawyer. I'd be cool, wear suits. And it just ended up like, once I like looked into it, like what you actually did, I'm like, I can't do it. I'm just honestly not smart enough or whatever maybe.
Sure.
So I did retail. So I just started doing sales, outside sales. I was selling, and I was trying to get into the pharmaceutical sales. And Probably did all right on it. I mean, I was doing okay. It was just like, Windsor's back home was just like, everyone, right? So
it's that small. I've never heard of Windsor.
So it's right across from Detroit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah, it's like 4 or 5 hours away.
Okay.
So it's close enough for me to go home. So that's why Chicago was like the perfect situation.
I see.
can still visit my family back home, and they come here more.
So how soon after your sister moved to Chicago did you come and visit?
Like 3 months.
Okay.
So she came, and I was just like, it was like August. I'm like, I'm going to go to school, and like September it started.
Oh, so you already made plans. This was more than just a visit or like to help her get settled. This was like you're moving.
I'm going to stay 2 years. I figured I'd stay 2 years, get my culinary degree, then go back home to Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started school and I fell in love with it. I was just like, man, I was just like, I got my knife kit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is amazing. Like,
my tools.
Yeah, what are these? Like, there were so many knives. Like, what do these all do? They're so sharp. I was cutting myself. It was so amazing. And I was just like, I fell in love with it. Like, literally, and I had no idea about culinary school itself.
Yeah.
That's what I felt. I didn't know what the restaurant industry was about.
Okay.
Like, I was in school with a lot of, kids that were in the industry, like just trying to get their degree, and they were already working at Blackbird or wherever it may be, and they're just like, I got to work the line tonight. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Like, what is the line?
Yeah.
I didn't even know what FOA. I didn't know what front of house meant.
Okay.
I meant nothing. I didn't know anything. But I engulfed myself in it, and I loved it. So I finished in 2 years, and I decided to stay. I did my internship in Florida, and man, it's so funny. I was like, oh yeah, I'll travel. I stayed in Chicago. I've been in Chicago ever since. 17 years. I went nowhere. Went nowhere. And I've just been cooking in Chicago the whole time.
So,
and it's where I settled.
So first of all, I don't hear too many cooks and chefs finish culinary school.
Right.
They say you get all this experience from working in a kitchen anyway. 100%. But I get the sense that ignorance is bliss in that sense, and that
I needed it.
Okay.
Because I didn't know anything.
Okay.
I just didn't understand it. You know what I mean? So like, I needed to know what a Brunoise was. I needed to know what a small dice was. Like, it's funny because there was one chef at the culinary school, which her name's Laura Piper, and she was still a chef. I think she took a teaching job. Maybe she needed a break, whatever it may be. But she would always say like, you're not going to do like this at restaurants. They're going to be faster ways to do it. But when you're here, learn the technique, the proper technique. So I always remember her saying that. So it's like, yeah, I just knew like I caught the bug. I caught the bug. Like, it made sense. Like, using my hands made sense because I was good with my hands when I was a kid too. Like, I used to be able to draw. I could look at something and just draw it. I was good at that. Like, at an early age, I would get my comics in the morning, and I would just like Calvin and Hobbes. I just like sketch it, and then I was cutting hair. Like, my dad was sick of my brother and I getting haircuts. So he bought us a kit, and he just like, cut your own hair. So I was just like, I was cutting hair in grade 6. I was cutting the neighbor's hair. I was playing basketball. Volleyball. We cut in my high school. I was cutting everyone's hair. Yeah, it's just so when I started doing things with I'm like, I got to do, like, it makes sense because cooking is so much with your hands.
Sure. So
I'm just like, oh, it makes sense that this is what I'm doing now.
Well, so there's looking back now, there's so many things we could have done with our hands.
Sure.
Right? It's like, I wonder if you were weighing any other options besides culinary.
No, man. I literally it was a suggestion.
Okay.
And I had no idea what I wanted to do with my career.
At some point, you kind of just take a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And you kind of commit to the process, and the duration of that commitment, it's different for different people, but you just don't let yourself give up. But because what if you didn't catch that bug? It's like, at what point do you just let it go then?
I don't know. Because like, oh man, I just had no direction with where I wanted to go. So just like, once I started doing it and really enjoying it, I'm like, is this what the people mean when like you work and you love what you do?
Yeah,
like, this is it, right? But I still didn't know until I got into kitchens.
Okay.
And then when I finally got into kitchens, I was like, this is awesome.
Wait, is it, in addition to working with your hands, is there a sense of like camaraderie that you liked, or like what about it, being back there making things like?
Well, first of all, there is professionalism in kitchens, believe it or not. Like, you have to be organized. You got to be thoughtful with how you do things, or you're not going to make it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so there's technical aspects, there's professional aspects, there's grit. There's grit, and then you have to be, it's hot, You know what I mean? There's a physical aspect, and there is a camaraderie about like getting through a service with a team. Not, you know, you're like a family. That's basically what it is like.
And it's like, how do you not take things personally when this can be so personal for you?
Yeah. I take everything personal. Everything. I still do. It's like, because you put your heart and soul in it.
Yeah.
Right? When I was a line cook, it was just like, you hold it in. But when you do something wrong, man, it hurts.
Okay.
It can be for days or something, but you learn to get over it quickly because it's service. But like, yeah, you think about it. I keep saying the reason why I became a good cook is I don't want to get yelled at. Like, literally just like, I just want to be able to just, I know I'm doing well if the chef doesn't notice anything that's wrong, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, things have changed a lot in kitchens. Some for the good, some for the bad, I think. You know, I think there needs to be more balance in it nowadays, but like...
Where do you think it's gone the other direction then? Like, so we're trying to move away from this aggressive, not there's pros and cons to the brigade system, but like, you know, away from this, you know, throwing pans at people and yelling at people.
That's ridiculous.
But do you think we've gone like too far the other way?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's good. It's hard.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to have to be hard. Like, it's emotional. And that's what was great about getting to kitchens, because you can just be yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to, you're not in an office, you know, it's like you're going to battle every day. Right. So sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's personal, and it's just like, but at the end of the day, you move on to the next day and it's nothing personal. It's just business. Right. And I just think it's softened a little bit in terms of just like, yeah, no one wants to be told F off, or just like getting risotto. I can tell you stories about, like, you know, I had oysters thrown at me because they weren't shucked correctly, and I got oyster juice on me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. And I don't even think I didn't blink at it. I'm just like, all right, yes, chef, go get more oysters and start trucking them. Right. Change your chef coat. You know, just, you know, move on. Right. That can never happen now, and that's terrible. Right. But like, yeah, like you can. It's like you don't want to. People, I guess, like, cooks just don't understand like how hard it is. Like, everything's about reps. Everything's about, you know, kids aren't getting enough reps out there. And there's still great ones out there, and there's still ones that you can still, you know, mold and really be straight with without getting them taken too personal. But like, yeah, I think it's kind of went a little the other way a little bit too much, because now there are kids that like they have potential, but they have to be willing to take criticism. Is
this something that they have to experience rather than talk about? So like in an interview, like it's not as easy to tease this out in an interview rather than, you know, a stage per se.
Yeah. I mean,
like a tryout, like
stages are important. I know they rarely happen as often. Like I stage all the time. But like, you can't, you know, I staged for 6-7 hours before. I would stage, my first job, I staged for 3 weeks before I was even talked to about getting a job, you know. Again, that's a bit crazy, right? But it's important. Yeah, it's important for them to see how the kitchens are. So staging is very important. If kids are open to this conversation, you know, I just did an interview, like, they're open to like staging, and they want to be taught, you know. And some people do want that, but it's changed so much where, you know, a lot of kids out of culinary school is like, I need $25 an hour or $26 an hour, and they have no experience, and they're just like, well, if I have a good interview chef, you know, maybe in a week I can, if I do well in a week, you think I can get a raise? I'm like, wow.
In a week?
Yeah. I'm just like, if you see something in me, so it's just like, man, you know, it's tough. It's tough sometimes.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Did the internship, did Kendall line that up for you? Or is that something in Florida that you had to do on your own?
So no, Kendall lined it up. Oh. So the chef was graduated from Kendall, and me and my one buddy Ricky, we just were procrastinating a little bit, and everyone was staging at, like, you know, the great restaurants in Chicago, and we came last minute and we're like, oh God, we don't have anything. Then our person that was doing the industry was like, well, listen, you can go to Florida, and they're gonna get paid. It was like $9 an hour, and they set you up with with a room, and they need 2 people. So we're gonna like, let's go. So we went, and it was supposed to be a 6-month internship, and they asked us to stay another 3. We were there for 9 months.
Oh, okay.
Like me and him, like, and it was great. It was like the best experience. Like at the end of it, we were like closing the restaurant, and we were just like, well, there was different outlets. There's maybe 3 or 4 different outlets in the hotel. But I worked in pastry. I worked everyone. Like it was a great experience. And I still have friends from there still. Yeah. That's the great thing about this industry too. Like you'll just know people. You worked with someone for a year, just like you're like brothers or sisters. Just, just know each other.
What do you think is that? Like, because you get the same feeling, like let's say in a firehouse of like, you build habits together, whether you're cleaning together, cooking together, saving lives together. Something similar. You get that sentiment in a kitchen. Specifically, let's say Ricky. You know, like what do you think drew you guys together?
Well, we're both Asian. And there's 5 of us from culinary school that are still best friends. My friend Scott opened Table Docky and Stick. He's no longer in the industry, but he's out west. My friend Steph, she owns Valley in out west too. It's just like, I don't know what it is. I guess you just have all the stories, you can talk about it. Like I don't know. Like
how did they like, is it how they showed up to class? Like how into it? Like their presence matched your, like their energy matched your energy?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. We knew that we were going to be in the industry, and we knew that we wanted to be chefs. Okay. And we knew that we would do whatever it took, and we kept in touch the whole time. We never actually worked together in a restaurant together, but like we kept in touch. We still keep in touch. Like we still talk about, it's not every day, but you know, we have a group message and I'll just be like, hey, I saw this, good job. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I don't know what it
that's
is.
Good. Yeah, that's
it's
good.
Like, I don't know. It's
that's
like
good. It's
if you work in a kitchen, like I can go in the kitchen, just like understand the movements. It might take me a day, and it's just like, it's all the same. A good restaurant's just run kind of the same way. And so maybe just knowing that knowledge, I don't know, man. Like you don't have to work with them for a long time. You can just be like,
I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird.
When did you stage at Per Se?
I staged for 2 weeks in 2011.
Okay.
2011. Yeah, I was at Perennial Restaurant, which was, I think, like Boca's 3rd restaurant. Okay. You know, it was just like before.
Is that in the Lincoln Hotel?
The Lincoln Hotel.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it's Perennial anymore. It's something else. But
no, I think after Chef Paul like left, I don't think it was Perennial anymore.
Yeah. And that was a fun opening, and I was up to like 3 years there. Okay. And I think the chef was just like, okay, you should do something. So
they were telling you to like, you got to go do something.
Yeah. Chef Ryan Poli, who was the chef there, and he was just like, I know the chef at Chef Benno at Per Se, and like I had like my first like extended period. I think I had like 2 weeks off. Of course, I get 2 weeks off. I go and stage,
do more work.
So I was like, cool, and so you know, stayed in Times Square. It was crazy great. It was crazy great. Like it was so much fun.
What kind of restaurant was what kind of food was Perennial? Was that American or French?
It was American. Okay. Kind of like New American.
New American.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were right across the Green Seating Market, so everything was local, sustainable, and just American food.
Okay.
Yeah, American food, elevated, delicious.
And when did you get the like inclination to move maybe towards fine dining, or something different? Because I mean, isn't that what's compelling you to go to Per Se?
Yeah, I mean, just the experience. I didn't think I was just like I wanted to be a fine dining chef, but like, again, it was an opportunity. You know, everyone knows Thomas Keller. Yeah, he's like one of the most influential American chefs in the world. And so when I had the chance to do it, I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do it, right? And yeah, I was there for 2 weeks. I worked my first like 3 days. I just juiced. I juiced everything. So it was just like juice for the bar, juice for the restaurant. Oh. So it's like, I remember I juiced beets. I didn't get in trouble the whole time, but the second day was the only time I got in trouble because I put a little bit of red beet juice in the dish pit and it turned red. And so they had to redo it. And then one of the chefs, the parties was just like, we treat our chef, we treat our dish, but just like the line, like you got to respect it, like, all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, chef. So I didn't do that again. And then I worked time and spent some time, doing for the sauce making. So I was doing their stocks, setting up their stocks, and straining all their stocks. So it's like one room of just sauce stocks and
so
stuff like that.
When you stage, like, are you like, where's your mind at? Like, it's got to be more than just don't fuck up. It's like, are you trying?
It's don't fuck up.
It's don't fuck up.
Yeah. Then it's just like, then when at the end of the day, you play it in your mind.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So there you're just like, when they're at that level, right?
Yeah.
Whatever 3 Michelin stars and stuff, like you just don't want to fuck up their shit. Like that, I'm swearing a lot. Is that bad?
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No.
And then when you go back to your hotel or whatever, then you take notes and say, all right, why'd they do it like this? And then I'm paying attention to other things. So I remember right next to me, while I'm juicing, there was a lady there who did all their quenelle butters. So, they get butter service or bread service, and they're doing quenelles. You know what a quenelle is?
Is that how it's scooped, or is that?
Yeah, like you'll see a lot in pastry.
Okay.
That's the way they do their ice creams.
Okay.
Right? Like a beautiful, almost like a football.
Yeah.
But they do it for butter.
Oh,
so
wow.
like, holy shit. So like I would literally watch her do like her technique. And that's what I'm good at. That's one of the reasons why I'm pretty good at cooking, because like I can watch and do it how they do it. So I'd watch her technique, and like then I'd go home and after 2 weeks I'd practice with butter.
Yeah.
So those are things that you can pick up. You can watch. I remember vividly, they have a catering, a PDR or like a catering place, and they were doing like these little beautiful sandwiches, and whatever cook or prep cook cut everything, so their buns were like this. They cut the tops, but he didn't keep the tops together. So they matched. So they weren't matching. Some weren't unmatched. So there's like, maybe out of 30 slider buns, there was like 5 that didn't match. So it's just like, right away, I'm just like, it won't happen to me. You know what I mean? So it's just like, yeah. So, like that's the kind of thing. And that like, makes sense because, it doesn't match, right?
You didn't feel like it was your place to interject?
Oh, no. The chef, the chef there said was giving him the shit.
Oh,
because
okay.
It was like, what are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
Like, these don't match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in my head, I'm like, you got to match your buns, right? If I ever get to that project. So like,
wow.
There are little things that get in your head.
Sometimes I see it in our class. People get so stressed out because they have this mentality of please don't fuck up,
right.
that they get in their own way and they get tunnel vision and they can't observe. They can't allow themselves to absorb what's going on around them.
You got to be able to do both a little.
Yeah.
Because then if you get too far into that, I can't fuck up, then you just start getting into your own head.
Yes.
And then you just start messing up. And then you start unraveling, which is, you don't want that either.
No, you kind of just freeze in the moment.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that in that time where that could have been only learned rather than taught or observed?
What do you mean, like
some things like I think of masters at their craft, and even if they tried to explain what they just did, you can't.
You gotta do it.
You got to do it. So was there anything that you felt like you had to experience that someone else, like let's say even Thomas Keller, couldn't tell you how to do?
It's all reps.
There's no way around that, right?
There's no way around it.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I can observe, you need to put the time in. And like, that's why it took me 15 years to feel comfortable to open my own spot.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I need to know whether it's financials, which I learned a lot when I was in hotels. Whether it's, bread making or whatever it may be, like you got to put reps in. And I'm talking about a year. Like, I spent some time in pastry for a year at least. You know what I mean? You have to, just to know that I can make my own whatever.
How are you supposed to manage someone else doing it if you don't know how to do it?
Exactly, right? And it's like, it takes time. And you need to put your reps in. Like that's the biggest thing, is just like, I don't know if there's a time, you know what I mean? Like maybe I would have been ready year 8, year 9 to do my own place, but I definitely, the timing was where we had a baby. Whenever you have a kid, man, you have children?
Trying.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like it changes you, right? So like right when it took me having Juliet to really inspire me to like, I'm going to lock in. You know what I mean? Like no more, I don't drink anymore. I'm so ultra focused all the time now. And it's just like, it's for her. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing. You'll see.
Yeah.
It changes everything
Yeah.
for the better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, that's what really drives me is our daughter.
Mm. So how did you feel coming back from per se to perennial? And I guess like where in the timeline did you cross paths with Raquel?
Okay, so we when I came back from per se, I wanted to go to another restaurant, and that didn't work out well with the chef.
Like right away.
Well, I was just like, well, they offered me to work there.
Okay.
And it was like,
oh wait, at per se.
yeah.
Oh.
And it was like something crazy, like 9. Like it's impossible. Like we looked into it, and I was with a girlfriend at the time, and she was just like, we'd have to live here, all this kind of stuff, because she knew some people in New York. I'm like, I think her sister lived there.
Yeah.
And we were just like, I don't know if we can.
You entertained the idea.
Yeah, we talked about it, and then we're just like, you know what? I've only been in Chicago for like 4 years, so I'm just like, Chicago's my pace.
Okay.
Like I want to drive. You can't drive in New York. Like I wanted to bring my own. I mean, you could, but I want to have a car and be able to like.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain things I'm just like Chicago's my speed, and so then after that, I wanted to leave, and they're just like, you can't leave. They're just like. You know, they just wanted me to stay.
Did you become friendly or close with anyone while you were staging in New York? Like, did you find someone to hang out with, like, in your off time? If you had, you know,
I mean,
what little off time you had?
It was only 2 weeks, so
okay.
They were literally 15-hour days.
Oh yeah.
So you get home.
All you had
sleep.
to do is sleep and reflect.
I mean, we didn't even we didn't even go. Where did we go? I forget the restaurant. We went to one Michelin star restaurant. I don't know if it's there anymore.
So your girlfriend at the time visited you or came with you?
She came with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you know, she was in the industry too, and all this kind of, you know, she explored she went everywhere.
Sure.
So, but like I just didn't have time. Like I would get home and just be like, God, I gotta get up. And like it was like literally from like I would clock in. I would not clock in, but I would get there like at 7, and then I would leave 10, 9, and
wow.
Yeah, and I'd be pooped after that. So yeah, we after per se, yeah, I was looking for other jobs. I took a job at a vegan restaurant I worked in. I worked at Untitled Restaurant, which is in River North. Bunch of places. I did hotels. I was working at Sable Kitchen and Bar and the Waldorf Astoria, and then I had met Raquel at when I was at Sable.
When you were hopping at all these places, like, was there a certain culture or food or environment that you're looking for?
Not necessarily. It just had to be. I had to be interested in. Obviously, I had to be interested in the food.
Yeah.
I wanted some growth. I was also older, so I knew I needed to get paid a certain amount. Like if I started this at 18, it would have been weird for me. Like I just knew I was mature. I knew I was a mature cook, and I knew that what I was going to bring to the table. So I always knew that, like I became the chef de cuisine at the vegan restaurant like in a year. So like I was only cooking for like 4 or 5 years, and I was always like a chef de cuisine. And it's like, I don't recommend that for anybody, but like I was mature.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like,
elaborate though. So it takes a certain level of maturity to become CDC.
Oh God. Yeah.
And how would you describe CDC to a layperson?
So chef de cuisine, you run the restaurant, you run the kitchen side.
Yeah, which is different because people kind of think of executive chef as that, but they're more, would you say, business side?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. They're there. They're probably not working the line, but they have to answer to the financial side, and they have to answer to the ownership.
Yeah.
So the ownership's not going to talk to anyone else but the chef, the executive chef. So why is your food cost this? Why is your labor this? So
as CDC, are you trying to maintain a bird's eye view of the flow of everything and having the ability to jump in the line at any point in the line? Okay.
100%.
Okay.
So you're running the kitchen.
Yeah.
And then like the CDC kind of like make sure all the food tastes great. All the prep's done. We're prepared for service, and yeah, if someone goes down, they work the line.
Like, is it first to leave or first to come and last to leave in a way?
Kind of.
Okay.
You know, they that's the tough. And sous chefs are in the same kind of boat.
Yeah.
Not every restaurant has a chef de cuisine. A lot of times it's like executive chef, and they'll have, depending on the size, there's a lot, you know. But there's the sous chef.
So someone younger wouldn't have the professionalism to handle that, or the maturity to handle that.
The chef de cuisine,
yeah.
It takes a little bit of time, I say.
Okay.
like I said, I was mature. I started a little later, right?
Yeah.
And I had a goal. Like, gotta set goals, right? Like, I knew I wanted to be at a certain place at this age, and I didn't want to be a line cook for 10 years.
That's good. What a stark difference from when you first started.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, like when you first got into culinary, you know, like you were wondering, what can I do? And then as soon as you caught that bug, you're like, it was off to the races after that.
Yeah, because you had a singular vision. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
You had a singular vision.
Yeah,
and that's sometimes what you need.
Okay.
And then I had a lot of support too, because everyone that saw that in me got excited. You know what I mean? So they pushed me. My family, they saw that I loved it, right? Like I get home I go home and they want to talk about me trying to be a chef. They still do. It's so funny. I'm like, you guys have cool jobs too. Like, I don't want to fucking talk about being a chef all the time. It's weird, man.
Well,
people love it though.
These days, like, chefs are celebrities.
It's weird. It's weird.
Well, it's I think a mental hurdle you have to come across or cross to claim some of that personal brand.
Yeah.
You know,
it's so funny. Like my cousin is a doctor, and during the pandemic, she was like, she was in Tennessee, and she was just like giving free healthcare or something. I'm like, you're a fucking hero. Like, you should be talked about. You know what I mean? I cook food. Who cares? You know what I mean? But I get what you said. You know what I mean? It's just like,
you know it though. You guys felt it in the sense of like, especially Chicago. It's hard to talk about any other city, but right. I think Chicagoans like love to support local.
Yeah.
And so when you get an idea of who this person is behind the food, or a service or an experience, like it just makes it mean that much more.
For sure. And it's great. I mean, people would come in and they were like, we have regulars that's been supporting us since day one, and there's people that come in and we're like, oh, we've been waiting to come here. Or they come from the suburbs.
Yeah.
There's people that come, like, we're closed on Tuesdays, and I do a lot of my admin stuff, and I'll be there. They try to walk in, and I just, I'm so sorry, we're closed. And they're just like, oh, we came from the suburbs. Shit. I'm just like, I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? It's like, we're closed on Tuesdays. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just one of those, like, it is. I mean, it's that's what it is. You know, like, people look at chefs and the restaurants, man, it's, especially in big cities like Chicago, New York, it's just like, man, people are so educated on the local scene, the local chefs and stuff like that. And then you add in, social media, just like, it's like they know you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I embrace it, but sometimes it's just like, wow. You know what I mean? Like,
it's overwhelming.
Yeah, sometimes.
So tell me about Sable. What was Sable like?
So Sable was a cocktail bar, like a great cocktail bar, like when the whole craft cocktail kind of scene started.
What year and what neighborhood?
So River North, I started there 2014.
Okay.
But the food was great. Chef Heather Terhune, she was amazing, one of my mentors, and she did like kind of Midwest. Just, I believe she was like from St. Louis, and her food was just delicious. And she's also a pastry chef too. Her pastries were phenomenal, and I was there. She hired me as executive sous chef, and I just learned so much. So it was just like there was a restaurant, but then it was a hotel. So we took care of the entire hotel. There was PDR rooms. We had weddings. So there was like 3 different wedding rooms for it, and there was like, room service. So it's like I was learning a lot, and that's where I met Raquel, and that was 2015. So Chef Heather had left, and I got promoted to executive chef, and it was our 5th year anniversary. So I had met her there. She was one of the regulars, and I remember, it was
whose 5th year anniversary?
Sable's.
Okay.
So it was just like we had a big party.
Okay.
And I was actually off. And it was funny because I was just like, I'm like, well, you have to come, though, chef. I'm just like, it's my day off. I'm just like, so I'd come in, so whatever. I no problem. We're just doing appetizers, so I oversaw a little bit, but I was just mainly trying to have a good time. So I meet Raquel. I didn't even know, it wasn't a setup or anything like that, but I know one of the servers is like, oh, he's our good friend Roger. He's a server, but he knows Raquel. So we introduced each other. Like, she was hungry. She's like, all these appetizers. Like, I want a food. I'm just like, well, I'm the right guy. So she said she liked gnocchi, and we had gnocchi on the menu. So of course I'm like, I'm gonna go make you some gnocchi. I'm like, I'm such an idiot. So I made her gnocchi. She liked it and all this kind of stuff. We had a great time.
Aww.
And I dropped her home, and I was just like, I had a great time. I want to see you again, but I want it to be tomorrow. And then she's just like, okay. And I kid you not, that was 2015. We spent every day with each other since then. And our daughter's 9 years old. So do the math.
No way. That's amazing.
Yeah, we had it pretty fast. It was like, we found out we were pregnant like a month and a half after. It's like, so life changed. I mean, it was a blessing, So that's the way, and it made sense. So we've been with each other for so long, and opening a restaurant together, we're just like.
What do you think? There's a lot of luck in this, and I'm sure there's a choice to choose each other every day. But like, what do you think made lightning strike for you guys?
I think there was obviously the attraction,
yeah.
And then there's also, we were both in the industry.
Yeah.
We both love food.
Her in what role? Was she always front of house?
Yeah, front of the house.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
The culture of Filipino and Cuban.
Yeah.
When it was just like it all kind of makes sense.
Like large families, food centric. Like when did that dawn on you of like this complementary culture, sometimes overlapping culture? Like when did that kind of come into your purview?
How much we both like pork.
Okay.
Like that's so funny. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, we just knew we can spend time with each other and just be okay with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes
in
it's
the
just,
mundane. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I never worked with her. And so we never had a conversation. It was my idea. Like, we're doing Cuban food. It makes sense. like if we should do a mix, like, cause I just feel like we want to be a little different.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people are like, oh, you're fusion. Like, fusion's a hard word for chefs and for restaurants. But we do fusion, and it's just like, it's not like a complete fusion where, a lot of we found that our dishes in itself work well together.
Yeah. So
like when you eat them together, it works, right? So that's what we were kind of working with. So like, yeah, I don't know. We just,
like, did you guys, was it going out to eat together? Was it family parties? Like, when did you start realizing this potential?
All of that.
Oh.
We knew that there needed to be a little bit more of a void fill for Filipino food and Cuban food.
Yeah.
Because there's not too many Cuban food. Like, there's some, but it's just like there's not too much represented here. And we just knew that we wanted to do it. And like I said, we never worked with each other. We're just like, wow, we'll just do it. It just worked out. I don't know.
That's some magical gnocchi.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. It's just, it made sense that we would do it together. And
when you officially started dating, like, did you feel like you, or unless you didn't care, but like, was it always hospitality centric, or like, what did you end up like bonding over?
Just a lot of it was hospitality. I mean, we were in the industry, right? Like that was she's also an actress, singer, stuff like that. So we bonded on that. I love music too, and I'm an Asian guy, right? So we're boy bands, we're Michael Jackson.
Did you do a little dancing for a little bit?
Hell yeah. I was in the era of like, Michael Jackson, breakdancing.
Yeah. So
we, back when you danced, like back when there was like, I don't even know if they have it. I think my daughter had like a 3rd grade dance, but like we would do dance offs, man. Like we would have routines back in the early 90s, late 80s. So it's like, you're cool if you danced. So I danced. I don't know, man. So we connected on all of that, right? And I think our love for food, our love for the industry, our love for family. Again, I think I didn't need breaks. Sometimes people need a break from each other. Just like, I don't even know what that means. I'm just used to my parents doing everything together. So it's like, I didn't. Is it weird? Like, I didn't get sick.
That's not weird at all. That was us, because I met my wife in the pandemic, and like being quarantine together, like you end up doing the mundane together, grocery shopping, laundry, all that stuff together, and it expedited the intimacy of the relationship, like the experiences that you gain from just being together so often.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, it's not peaches and cream all the time. I mean, you just know that's not going to, whatever you're going through, like, you're not going to quit.
Right.
So it's like.
So when you guys, what was it like when you learned that you were pregnant?
It's funny because I was on a vacation in New Orleans for my mom's birthday. And it was like, my brother couldn't go. It was like my mom, dad, sister, and I. And then she didn't tell me over the phone, but I don't know. We talked one day and it's just like kind of weird.
Yeah.
Then I come back and she's just like, I'm pregnant. And then I was like, great. I was like, cool. I don't know if she was expecting me to be like weird about it, but I was like,
you were supportive.
Oh yeah. I was like, all right, let's have a baby. Let's go. I'm gonna be a kick-ass dad. You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like
wow. You know, how mature?
Yeah. I mean,
Did you have friends that were dads at that age? Like at that point in time?
Maybe one. I think one. But he was an older friend, but there was two of them, yeah. I just felt like, I love kids, I'm just like, I grew up with nieces and nephews but it would be understandable if you're like, I'm trying to accomplish something with work. This is going to make it so much harder. I think people would understand that. Yeah. And to hear you fully embrace that as well on top of what you're trying to accomplish with your work is amazing too. Yeah. I mean, you can do both. You can do both. Juliet spent time at the restaurants. She comes, we've had her sitting there late at night while we break down. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. Like, kid comes first. Always. It doesn't matter. Like, so the restaurant will be there. You know what I mean? So there was never a question about that. Like, she's always going to become first. Like, I haven't missed one thing. Yeah. Whether it's a talent show, a Christmas recital, like, it's just, I don't miss it. That's the reason why I want to be. I want her more than anything. Oh, okay. Because we had her first. She was 2 years old when we opened the restaurant. Okay. We took 1.5 years to plan it. But I just knew, like, even when I worked in hotels and, you get paid well, all this kind of stuff, but hotels are 24/7. You know what I mean? So you got to be ready on any time. So a lot of reason why I wanted to open my own place was because time's precious. Time is what, that's my money. Because, like, I just want to be able to say, all right, what's going on with Juliet's schedule? I'm going to plan around that. Yeah. So that's just what it is. If it's a family wedding, we're going to it. Yeah. So I'm going to make sure we're staffed and make sure we're prepared.
Curious how much more dialed in you got during the pregnancy? Like, did that give you extra motivation to, like, plan ahead or?
I mean, we're going back. It was. I mean, we were living in a condo. We were living in my condo, one bedroom condo. So it's just like, we're just young parents. We're setting up the rooms. We're getting everything ready.
Were you still at Sable at the time?
I was still at, yes, I was still at Sable. Okay. And they were very, Kimpton's a great hotel group. I mean, they have great benefits for that kind of stuff. Like I had a month off when we had Juliet, just like, wow, leave. And, we were just like preparing for it. And I was working at the same time. I mean, just like, I think I was so used to seeing it with my parents because they were full-time.
Like the jobs, do whatever it takes mentality.
Yeah. I mean, cook a big pot of food on Sunday night and then it lasts you for the 4 days. And we all had our own keys. I get home and just like, whoever's home first warms up the food and we, what I mean? Who has practice and like, we just have to write on a board or whatever it may be of like, when should you be home? When should you know what I mean? All this kind of stuff. So it's just like, work is work. You got to do it, right? That's just the mentality with my family. Like you just need to be able to work, and then the kids still come first. And so, I don't know. It was tough, but like you just do it.
What was the reception like when your parents found out that you guys were about to start a family?
Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were just like, it's their first and only grandchild right now.
Oh, wow.
So they were just like, they were surprised, but they were just like, oh my God, we're going to be grandparents. It's just like.
Are they still up there in Windsor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're there. I know they come visit us more.
Yeah.
It's just easier because they're retired. I wish I can go home more often, but they come here.
And then Raquel's?
They live, her dad's passed, and then her mom lives in Ocala, Florida.
Oh, okay.
She's originally from Miami.
Okay.
But all her family's like in Florida, so.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, Julia visits. She was just there. They're planning on going for Mother's Day again, but she goes there at least once a year.
Okay.
To visit. Okay. And Abuela comes. She's been to Canada, but she doesn't like the cold so much. As you can imagine.
Yeah. Okay, good. So what were the next steps after Sable? Like, what were you mapping out? Like, what's my next thing?
So Sable, I was there for like 2.5 years, and then, the goal was still to open a restaurant, and then I went to Waldorf. Waldorf Astoria was like the banquet chef. Again, still wanting benefits and stuff like that for the daughter. So I was there for another three years.
Wow.
And then that's when I was finally like, okay, I hired a realtor just to start looking at spaces. And funny old thing, I was gonna take the Belly Shack space on Western, and we were so close to it. And I fell in love with that space.
Where is that? I'm not familiar.
So Western and Armitage. It was Bill Kim's, like, it was like a sandwich shop.
Oh, I'm aware of that actually.
Yeah, I think now it's a coffee place.
Close to Kyoto, yeah.
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 And we were so close on closing that space, and it just didn't happen. I think, I don't know, the landlord was being weird about, I forget exactly what it was.
So what does that mean to you now? It's like, do you not try to get too attached to a space when you look at it?
Yeah, I mean, I just know, I'm the big, like, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Mm. So then it didn't go through, so I started looking for a job. And then Let Us Entertain You was hiring. And
you've already left Waldorf?
I've already left Waldorf.
Whoa!
I already left Waldorf because I was just like, I think I'm gonna get this space. And then it's so funny. I even took a job at the Whole Foods just to make some money. Like, I was just working in the prepared food aisle.
Huh.
And so I'm like, all right, I just gotta get a job now. It's not meant to be. So then I started hiring for, like, I think it was like an R&D position or something. It was a position at Lettuce.
Oh, okay.
And I'd got an offer, but then my realtor called me and just like, I saw this space in Ravenswood. Like, I swear to God, you're gonna fucking like it. Like, just don't take that offer yet, just to see. Then I saw it and I did. I'm like, I saw the floors. I don't know why.
You're a floor guy?
I always look at the floors. I'm like, the floors are good. We're good.
What and describe good?
Like, they were great. They're bamboo wood. So I'm just like, they're heavy. They're just like, man, you can throw a rock on it, like a boulder, and it's not gonna crack. It's just really, really good.
Okay.
And I just visioned it right away. I'm just like, they had walks. It was all walks. It was a Chinese restaurant.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's a little weird, but like, I just know how fast they heat up. I just know they can do everything. I've never really worked on that kind of walk. I'm like, I'm gonna learn. So I'm just like, shit. So I go and do my last interview. I get the offer. Then I talk to, God, I can't believe I remember his name, but he's the main chef there at Lettuce. This French, I forgot. I'm so sorry, I messed that up. I don't even know what. I'll figure that out. But I told him what's happening. He's like, do the restaurant. He's just said, do the restaurant. Like, why do you think I'm sitting here, man? Like, do it. There's these kind of, like, Lettuce. These kind of places are gonna be open. You'll never know. So I didn't take the position. So I started dialing on Ravenswood, and then we opened like in 5 weeks. Once we closed it, like we closed like in a week. It was ready. We just had to get it kind of painted.
And it was 3 people. You, Raquel, and one other.
Yeah. My dad and my brother-in-law did the electrical. Juan Kim, I just reached out to him. I did like an event with Juan Kim, and I saw that he does murals, and I'm like, oh God, I didn't know you did all this. Like, he's like
every time I hear about his name, I learn something new about him. I've never met him, but like I didn't know he did murals. What?
He does everything. He's just saves lives. He does everything. I don't know. Like he's just. So when I saw his work, I was just like, I just knew we needed like it was a small space. I'm like, I need a wall with a statement wall. So I'm just like, come in here and do your thing, man.
Oh.
He knocked it out, and I think that was when I'm like, we're gonna be good, because you just need. I don't know. I just felt like when he did that mural on our like, have you seen it? Have you
No,
you
not
gotta
yet.
come in.
Not to the OG.
Come with the wife, and it's just like it's a statement piece right when you walk in.
Okay.
So that's when I was like, man, we're gonna be a restaurant, because I needed something, because at first I was just like, just getting through. But when he finished, I'm like, okay, this is a statement piece.
What did he ask of you to get a vision?
Raquel wanted hibiscus flower.
Okay.
And that was it. And you leave it up to the creator, to the artist, man. And like he's like, I never do flowers. He's just like, this is like something I don't do. And he just like he killed it. So yeah, he's great.
What was on that menu when you first opened?
Oh man, God.
I don't know if this was on the OG menu, but
Yeah.
you had like I don't know if it was a smash burger, but a burger with like calamansi caramelized onions.
That was
pandemic times?
That was pandemic time.
Yeah.
That was just like,
Oh,
do whatever
that
you
sounds
can.
so good.
Yeah. Man, we were doing anything and everything, man. No, like the first menu was, I remember I just wanted to keep it. I just needed it to be simple enough, but a little different. That was my thing.
Okay.
Like make it like traditional, but put my little, chefy twist on it. We only had like maybe 15 things on the menu. There's lechon. We hit all the basics.
Yeah.
But we just made sure everything was delicious. And like I said, we were just busy. It was like we didn't have a reservation system, so we were like those busy dim sum restaurants where you just take a number and you just like
Sure.
like we had no waiting room. So it's like she had to like text everyone. We were sending people over to Walcott. Just there's like a Walcott tap, like a bar in the corner. We're just like, go to Walcott. You know what I mean? We'll text you, go have a drink. Yeah, it was just like.
There's so much charm in that though. There's still a few places that do it that way.
Yeah. I know. I loved it too, but it was so much like. And then we're like, we need a reservation system, because it just ended up being like too much. Like Raquel had it down, but just like if it wasn't her, it would get way. You know what I mean?
I see.
It's just like it's tough when it's just like you just need one, there's only one person who can do it very well.
Yeah,
it's just tough. So we ended up getting a reservation system.
Okay.
Yeah.
How it just took off right away. Like that's amazing.
Yeah,
And you guys, did you guys live in Andersonville at the time?
No, we were already at the house in
Portage.
Yeah.
Okay.
We like pretty much right away. Once people started finding out that we were open, I want to say, and then we were going to open just for brunch Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
We just X86 right away. We're just like, we can't do it, because like we were so busy on the Friday night to be able to turn around and open for brunch Saturday morning, and to get all the prep, because we had different menu items. It was like, we can't do it. So we were only closed Sunday, Monday, and we're open 5 days a week. And like I said, we were like, man, I was so humble with the numbers the first year that I kind of planned out.
Yeah.
Like we were like quadrupling the numbers. We're just like,
wow.
Yeah. So right away, I hired another 2 cooks.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Then the pandemic hit. So we were like 15 months in. I remember it was March, and we heard about it. We're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be closed for a week. And I remember,
Where did you first hear about it? The news or somewhere like reservation systems? Okay.
No, the news. And I remember they said like one person caught it, like, and it was at the school. And I just remember thinking like, it's gonna pass in a week, hon.
Yeah.
And then we're just like, no, this is huge. And I remember our St. Patrick's Day weekend is when it was gonna be fully shut down. And then we're just telling all our guests like, we're not. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And that was nuts. We lost. We there's a honeymoon phase for new restaurants, right?
Yeah.
We really lost.
How long does that usually last?
2 years. 3
Okay,
years.
so you're still in the middle of it.
We're still in the middle of it, man.
So did you even have the bandwidth to think about next steps, or you're just taking it all in?
At that point,
You said a year and a half. You were a year and a half.
15
months.
15 months in.
Yeah.
It sucked. We were just like, what did we like? We didn't like.
But before the pandemic, before you first got wind of the news, did you even have the bandwidth to like think about what could happen from this, because the numbers are just coming in better than you expected?
We just every day we'll just get through today.
Okay.
That's what it was, man.
Okay.
It was just like, yeah, it was just like, man, like my dishwasher ended up cooking with me. Like there were so many things happening. There was so like, I would say my first group of people I hired were like, they were like on parole. I mean, I was just hiring like people off the street, man.
Really? Yeah, where'd you find them?
You put out ads, right?
Yeah.
Like things have changed so much just from 2018 till now. Like I can put out a message. I can put out like on something on
social
Instagram.
media. Yeah.
And I'll literally get like 10, 15.
What was the platform back then?
I did Craigslist.
Craigslist, yeah.
I did Craigslist.
Yeah,
I did Craigslist, and I was just like, I put it out there, and like,
and just people would apply.
They would apply, and they'd come, and it would literally be like, all right, man, I hired some from Chipotle, and I'm like, all right, because I didn't have a name.
Has anyone stuck with you?
Yeah, my main chef has been with me. He was my dishwasher. He walked in. He was 18 years old. He was selling knives at the time. He walked in and was like, "Hey, you guys hiring?" And he didn't have a resume. I was like, "Yeah." He's just like, "I need a dishwasher." And then he's just like, "Okay." I'm like, "When can I start?" I'm like, 2 days from now. And now he's my main chef. Jesus.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was 18.
Wow.
And his little brother works with us now. It's just like
18. So he's 24 now? 24, 25?
Yeah, 24, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he knows what I want. He knows exactly how I want things. It's so funny. Yeah, that was just like get through the day.
Okay.
Then it became like, hey, get through the week. Then the numbers were just like so steady. We're just like, okay, finally I was able to get a dishwasher, because we just had a 3-compartment sink, so we got a little mini dishwasher, and that like changed. It's just like every month I was able to add something. When
you got started though, did you have any investors, or just bootstrapping everything?
Bootstrapping.
That's amazing.
Parents helped out.
Yeah.
That was very much it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like, I mean, the rent's not crazy. It's a great little, Ravenswood's a great, like you were just there. It was just a great little spot there.
I love it. We would before stumbling into your work, like it would be Spockanopoly and then walk to Margie's.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I knew of Ravenswood because I lived in Andersonville.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw the place, I was just like, this is going to be a cool spot, like running right underneath the brown line.
Yeah. Does it end up being as loud as you thought it might have been?
It's loud as hell. Fuck. I just remember like we opened a patio. I'm like, what are we doing? Like every 10 minutes, like just like a damn, like I was like, Raquel would just be like, what? Like she would just be like, I go, babe, people understand. It's the city.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? But it's just
there's
like
charm. Yeah.
But damn. Yeah. The whole band, like, yeah, it's loud. Whatever.
Okay.
People do. People understand. That's the one thing you'll see on our review sometimes. Just be like,
oh, really?
The place is so loud. And I'm just like, well, I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when did it dawn on you that the pandemic might be here to stay for a little bit?
When everything shut down.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't even like.
And were you like resistant to that? You're like, there's no way. Like we got to find a way to. There's a workaround. Like how can we make this?
So then, right away, you were able to do to-goes like.
Okay.
We signed up with Caviar, but it just no one knew what was really happening. You know what I mean? In terms of just like, what happens if you get it? All this kind of stuff. So like.
Yeah.
We set it up for to-goes and deliveries, and like, no one, like there was not enough information. We did it for like 3 weeks and it was fine. We weren't making a ton of money. So we're just like, I'm not comfortable even going out right now. I just like, at this point I was just like, maybe we just need a break. So we just got rid of to-goes. I think we closed for like maybe a month.
Okay.
And fortunately, our landlord is amazing. Like, he didn't charge us nothing.
Oh, wow.
He didn't charge us anything. And then, then finally, slowly, the things started like reopening, and we might have done some a pop-up here and there, but nothing. I don't know. Maybe we just needed a little mental break too. Maybe, we were like a year and a half and just like all in every day.
Yeah.
So maybe we just need some time off too. And then you were able to have outdoor seating. So we were doing all that in tents. We were setting up like all this.
Being responsible for a team, did you have to let some people go, or like did you continue paying them, or
we had when we did
or the PPP?
The
loan?
PPP,
Yeah.
we did the first round.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, we did the GoFundMe and stuff like that. And it's just like, we had such a small team, and we all knew that we'd come back together very soon.
Okay.
And we did. And we were closed for about a month, and then we were able to open outdoors, and we didn't get the igloo, but we.
Those are so wild.
This is crazy. Did you go in them? Did you ever go?
I no, because it's like, what's the point? You're still dining with people, like, and then what? Like when you open it back up and you have to wear your mask when you go to the bathroom. It's looking back, it's silly. I think back in the day, it's like when it was happening,
people just
wanted to play it safe. Like you want to go out, but you want to play it safe. So it's like, what's the middle?
We just got like, just off Amazon. We just got like this. It almost looked like a little home.
Yeah.
You could fit like 3 tables in there outside. And of course, it was so cold or whatever.
Like, how is that different from indoor? It's like when you're looking back, it's like
you're
together,
all in there, and you're actually in this like plastic incubator. I don't know.
I think Tank Noodle did that too on Broadway. It's just like they took up the whole sidewalk, and you're essentially inside this space. What are we doing, guys?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, that's our only investment. Like, people were like doing a whole air filter, like the filter systems. They were doing all these like things in between. We didn't. We just said like, what, we're not going to do that. We're just going to like.
Depending on the numbers, like you might have been more or less desperate to do whatever it took to maintain open doors.
Yeah. No, and then we did like these family meals that people really loved. So every week we would change it up, and like people would order it, and we'd get a bunch of orders for those. Like, we did stuff like that, but we didn't really do. There was people like changing their front of the house to grocery stores and stuff like that. Like, I didn't have that mental strength to like do all. I was like, you know what? Let's just live really lean for a while. Let's just like just chill.
So and at that point, how old was Juliet?
She was preschool. She was doing
4, 5-ish?
Yeah, like 4. Yeah, she was pre-K. Wow. So she was doing the video in home. Her first 2 years were like, learning from the house.
Yeah.
So that seems so long ago. But
does that even register with her?
Yeah, she remembers it.
Okay,
100%.
Okay.
Juliet's got a wicked weird memory, man.
Okay.
Crazy. She remembers stuff like when she was like 1. Oh yeah, I remember her name. I'm like, how do you remember her name? Like, I met her at the park by the house, and she would see her like 3 years, and she's like, I met you before. Weird. I don't know what that is, but
well, it reminds us to be just as present or observant, as they are.
Yeah, she remembers stuff like that all the time.
Okay.
But those were wild times. Those were wild times. And
you started catching wind that certain restaurants are closing for good.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, did you let yourself operate out of a place of fear at all, or you guys were doing okay?
We were I mean, once we knew we could get back, once they started getting like indoors at 50% and stuff like that. We were doing okay.
Because that was tricky. I mean, okay, so with such a small space, it works out. But certain places are like,
you can't
50%.
Like sometimes, like, I mean, there were some big name restaurants that were closing. So I was just in my head, I was like, I get it. Like, how do you? We can manage a 20-seat restaurant. That's where I felt like we had an advantage. It's like, we can figure that out. If we can hit this number with to-goes and like family meals or something like that, like we can survive, right?
Okay.
But like, when you have a 100-seat restaurant, that's used to doing 100,000 a week. Like that's, and then all of a sudden you're selling burgers to go. You know what I mean? And like, just all your management's working, and like you don't have anyone. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. Like,
yeah,
it's like changing. People were changing gears, man. I'm just like, much respect, but like that was. I don't know. I don't know if I wouldn't have been able to do it if I had this big ass restaurant. I would have been like,
What was the reception on those burgers? Because it sounds so good.
People love them. People love them.
Are they on the dinner menu at all?
No, we'll put. I wanted to put a patty melt on there. It's like burgers. First of all, there's a Culver's next door. There's a
I forget about that.
Yeah, there's a Culver's next door. There's Walcott has a great burger. Like there's burgers everywhere. So I'm just like, do we need a burger? You know what I mean? Like we can do it on special if we want, but I'm just like, people come in and they just really want to eat the Filipino and Cuban stuff. You know what I mean? And
I
like,
see.
So it's like we're big believers in just like what the people want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're just like, trust me, the burger's great.
Yeah.
And we're a diner, so I'm just like, essentially you can put anything on the menu, right? Spaghetti, whatever you want to do. But like, I think a burger will probably make an appearance.
Sure.
Yeah.
When did catering orders come back, or private dining? If you did any of that, like when did
catering,
anything extra?
People, like we never. It's funny because I have experience in it, so like I love doing it, and you get great markup. You know, your markup on catering's great, but so it's like, but we never really marketed it. But people would reach out, be like, hey, we need this. So finally, we just started kind of doing a bit of a, marketing a little bit. We have a little catering menu. And since we've opened the original, people have always asked us to do parties for them. So we do a Kamayan presentation display. So it's like, Kamayan's like you eat with your hands. So you put banana leaves out and you just pour all the food, almost just like a big crab boil or something like that. Yeah. But Filipino food. So we do that in a display form, like a buffet, and people just love it. It's just different. People want something different, right? And then, catering has just been this like extra thing that's kind of, we've been doing that. Again, we never really marketed it. People just reach out and be like, hey, I saw your Instagram post. You know what I mean? It's very, very grassroots. Like I don't have like a catering sales team or anything. It's just like, what do you guys got? You know what I mean? The people just work out. People just reach out and be like, hey, I was at a party, a Filipino wedding, and I'm getting married next year. So it's just literally like networking.
Yeah. So, you do one large event and then okay. Yeah. Understand. So then when you came back full force, pandemic has kind of said its goodbyes for a little bit. Is there like, what's next then?
First of all, the pandemic changes your mind frame as a business owner, because now it's like easy. Now it's just like getting through the pandemic was like, it's like you can do anything now. So I'm just like, I was just like, let's, like, you didn't have any fear of having to pivot on anything, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously we came back, we stayed who we were, like, but like, again, it's just a new wave of just like, fuck it. Like, let's just do what we want. Just keep having fun. And like, we just know how quickly it can be taken from you. Right. Mm-hmm. So it just gave you a new perspective. So reopening, like we back to business. We saw, numbers weren't the same. They're a little bit lower because people were still scared.
Sure.
You don't, we're open 100%. Still, people still didn't trust it. There were still people that were like, judge you for like, you're not making people mask. I'm just like, are you? Like, there's some people that did, some people that didn't. Yeah. So they would go to the restaurants that did. And some people just wouldn't wear them, would be like, I'm not wearing a mask here. Like, so we're just like, that was the biggest question. Like,
just like, do you pick a side? Like, yeah.
It's just like, ours was just like, it's not mandatory, but if you wear one, it's very fun. That kind of thing. But, we got through it. And then after we signed our lease was up, we signed it another 5 years. And then after that, we signed a 5-year on the diner, and all of a sudden we have 2 restaurants. So it's like, we knew we needed to change the format on the smaller one, the new one, the old one, sorry, because we wanted to kind of bring that a la carte menu to the diner. Yeah. And we just
that you made that decision to expand before solidifying the fine dining space.
Yeah.
That's wild though.
Yeah, because we knew
It's like you outgrew the space. So like simply out of that necessity, it's like I want another space.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I knew the small space was, we were locked in. Like we just knew that we could make money there, and I knew I wanted to do like a 5-course tasting. Now it's 8, but like we did that because that's gonna just be more efficient. We can dial that menu in.
Yeah.
And then we can just leave there for a little bit. Leave. It's 100 feet away. So we were there still. You know what I mean? And then we were able to focus on the diner.
Yeah.
And then that was that. So it ended up being a really good decision, because we're getting a different kind of notoriety for the tasting now.
Good.
And then the diner's doing its own thing. So we didn't want competing businesses.
Oh yeah,
right?
it'd be redundant. Yeah.
So.
What was your experience with fine dining at that point? When you start thinking about what a prefix menu means to you, I know you've said you wanted it to be approachable.
Yeah.
I think it started at $95.
Yeah.
What was your experience? It could be Chicago or anywhere. You know, I know you cooked at Per Se, but like anywhere else. Like, what was your experience with fine dining?
Just Chicago. I mean, I didn't have this like a linear experience or like more than 15 courses or anything like that. I know how to make the food. Like I know how to portion it correctly and to how to do make a story out of it. Right. That's the biggest thing you need to know. You know, the biggest thing about a tasting is just like the right progression, and then you know pairing. The biggest thing is pairing wine with it or alcohol as well.
Yeah.
And then because it's just again it's a one story type situation. So like
scenes in a story, right?
Yeah.
Each course is a scene.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, everyone comes in and they take it however they want to take it. That's the way I would look at it, right? Like it's funny, like, you know, you want to have your light stuff first and you end up with the heavier stuff. Like I have a dish on there right now, which is a croqueta. It's a duck confit croqueta. And I put a little piece of foie on top, and it's got sweet and sour sauce. Oh. Like to me, that's like that's in my head. I'm like, that's just like
that's
Chinese,
a one bite thing,
and a Chinese takeout. Like I'm just thinking like this is just, I wanted guava sweet and sour sauce.
Oh,
and you know, then it's also duck 2 ways because it's got, you know, duck liver and then duck confit. So it's like that's in my head. I don't know if necessarily they need to know that, but like that's what was going on in my head because I love sweet and sour. I love like pork sweet and sour sauce. You know, I love that kind of stuff. So I'm just like, I want to put that on the menu. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's the story.
So it's still coming from you. You know, it's like you're doing this because you enjoy it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And I just and then people have really embraced it. You know, we've had like maybe 2 weeks of service of it now, and again, it was 5 courses before, and it just.
Yeah. So tell me, like, what did you learn from wanting it to be initially $95 and approachable to now extending it to 8 courses? And what is it now? Is
130.
It 130? Very approachable. It's like, what did you learn from the initial iterations of a prefix menu?
I wanted it to be a little longer. Does that make sense? Like I wanted.
Did you get the sense that people wanted it to be a little longer? Yeah.
Like a little more special. Like I think we could have. I think what we did initially was right because we wanted. You know, it's still very neighborhood friendly. Like our services, just because we had 2 more courses, 3 more courses. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it was, and the first 2 are bites, and the last one's a bite too. So it's not like it's a little longer. It's a little more quote unquote special. And we just wanted to elevate even a little more, push ourselves a little more.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, Michelin came in and we got recognized for it, and we got a lot busier because of that recognition.
As a star, or as a bib gourmand,
just as a recognition.
Oh, okay.
We're overpriced for a bib gourmand. Oh. And I guess we could be, and we are in price for a Michelin, but that's not even the point. The point is just like people started coming more. Yeah. So they're just like, I felt like they wanted more. You know what I mean? Because they once they started kind of like, we went up like, I would say 30-40% more sales because of that announcement. And we're still hitting those numbers. So we're just kind of, like I said, we just want to give people what they want. And so we're just like, I think a little bit more courses, and you know, a lot of more elevated stuff. So
Yeah.
just being creative.
Amongst the 8, do you try to just divvy it up 50-50 Cuban Filipino, or get like some menus might, this month it might be this and that month might be that?
I don't even know if we think about it that way. Just like, I could just be making a menu, be like, oh shit, we have to put more Filipino stuff. You know what I mean? So it's not like, I don't necessarily say like,
It doesn't always have to be 50-50.
yes.
Yeah.
It could be like, I think it's okay. So Quinolas Filipino. Let's look at it. I don't even know. Quinolas Filipino ducks. It's 50-50.
It just happened to be
It happened to be
50-50.
50-50,
Okay.
Like flan is both,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's 50-50.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you when you plan it out, do you go dish by dish, or do you start with the whole story and then cut it up into scenes? Where do you usually start the storyboarding?
It's usually, I go by protein. I usually go by protein of like what I think we need. Like,
Yeah.
I always kind of look at my bigger dishes. Like, we were doing lechon, crispy lechon, pork belly. We always need pork, right? So I started with, I wanted to use Iberico, like really sexy pork, and I knew I wanted to grill it. And so then I started thinking about the season. So I'm like, all right, so grilling seasons, barbecue, and then I wanted to use yuca. Yuca con mojo is a very Cuban thing that, it's just boiled down yuca. It's with mojo sauce with sour orange, olive oil, onion. Very humble dish. So, but I added creme fraiche. So it's almost like a warm potato salad, but yuca, because yuca's like potato.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just like, that's like a barbecue dish.
Wow.
Like almost like a backyard barbecue dish, but like elevated. So I started with that, and then I knew I wanted a beef after. So it's like literally like, yeah, it's literally just like playing with food.
Yeah.
That's why I play
Yeah.
with food
You're
every
not
day, right?
necessarily starting in the beginning.
No.
That's interesting.
But then I said I wanted 2 bites. I wanted 2 bites to start. Right now our first was you walked in right into a dish. So I was just like, all right, I want to split up. That's why I wanted more courses. So I'm like, I want to split up and not do the first dish being so big. I want it to be split. So I just started with 2 bites. So that's the quinola, which is the coconut and yuzu marinated shrimp. And I used the head too, and I fry the prawn. I mean, I'd say 20% eat the prawn head. I'm just like, eat it. But I'm just like, it's so good. Have you been to MFK?
No.
Sorry, MLK. Yeah, MFK. They do fried. They just a whole plate of fried. Fried shrimp heads.
Okay. Oh wow.
With an aioli. So I'm just like, it's so good.
Okay.
I'm not gonna waste the head.
Won't skip out on it.
Yeah. So it's just like you get a piece of fried head, shrimp head, and then you get the ceviche, quote unquote, piece of shrimp. Then you walk into the duck course. Then we kept 2 courses from the first tasting, which is our scaldo lobster, and then our adobo pulpo octopus.
Wow.
We made them smaller because those 2 were just like
Staples. They're so good.
They were like, people are like, we gotta have those 2. Like we were just like, people love them.
Like when they come and they don't see that, they'd be like, where did they
go?
go?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like those 2 are our fish.
Okay.
Seafood. And then we walk into the pork, and then we do the Wagyu brisket, the ropa vieja.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm saying. Like we hit every protein. Every protein is a beautiful cut of meat, whatever we decide it's going to be.
Okay.
And then we do flan, and then an ube chocolate donut at the end. It's fun. Sorry, I started rambling about that. Now I'm like thinking.
No, I love it. Yeah.
But like, yeah. So the story is just like a Filipino-Cuban tasting that's like, we just wanted something that people that would come in and just like can celebrate.
Yeah.
But nothing like where it's like $300 a head. We just want it to be fun, and our service, is very, very, very down to earth, and you come in wearing a sweatshirt if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder what if you could do that? What if you had a more expensive prefix menu, and you still, there's no dress code. It's just like, come in however you want to come in.
Maybe restaurant 5. Who knows?
Yeah, I know, right?
That's the thing. Like I always say, like, it doesn't, like, that's how small restaurant groups, like, we want to open restaurants. That's what Bayan wants to do, right? You know, I personally it's like a shark. Like, I got to keep moving about something. I got to be creating or thinking about something. So it's like,
I wonder if there's any other industry that you're interested in.
I don't know.
For Valentine's Day, we visited Valhalla, and we got to see Chef Steven in their element.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance to ask him, but I ask every guest this. It's like, as you continue to expand, like, how do you plan to continue executing at the level that you've been executing? How do you continue to maintain the charm that you've been maintaining as you continue to grow? I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just, it's hard. You know, it's hard to do that.
It is hard. You got to be, to me, and this is what I'm telling myself. It's like, you got to be very specific with the location that you decide. Your concept needs to be on brand with what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And then you got to hire the right people.
Yeah.
And you know, those people, you know,
and then delegate.
Everyone is very, like, we're cross training everyone, right? So there's some servers at the diner that are cross training that at the new tasting, and we need to, you know, that's just the way. That's the beauty about expanding.
Yeah.
Like, I know people. It's so some people that own a restaurant, it's like, I can't imagine having another one. But, like, it's, in a weird way, it's gotten easier.
Okay. Because you've built systems.
Built systems in. Obviously, the actual revenue is better, right? But, like, more than anything, it's just like, now that you have more hands, you know what I mean? And now it's like you're paying chest. Whereas, like, again, like, when you had the small restaurant, it's just like, yeah, we're doing okay, but we've hit the ceiling in a way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can change things up, you make a tasting, all this kind of stuff. But I'm like, you know, I'm always trying to grow a little bit. You know, like I said, like, just like my mind frame kind of just like, I don't know if I get bored, but, like, what's the next project? It's always in my head.
And I wonder if it's like, I've come full circle in the sense of, I've always looked for opportunities outside of, let's say, emergency medicine. Because typically you end up trading time for money. Yeah. And it's like, is there any other vessels where I have a certain leverage or expertise in? And it's like, I find myself coming back to emergency medicine. Yeah. And so is there any other industry that you find yourself curious about that you feel like you would want to explore, open, or help improve? Or do you find yourself coming back to food and beverage?
I think it's always food and beverage, running restaurants.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not like, no, it's always food and beverage. I love cooking for people. I love cooking myself. Like, searing, I still get a weird feel, like a warm feeling when I sear a piece of steak. Like, it doesn't matter, I've probably done 1 million. But I still love cooking. Like, you know, there's some chefs that I don't cook at the house. I love cooking at the house still. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of stuff. Like, that's the thing that I will always love to do, is cook. Like, if someone calls in sick and I have to cook for a whole shift, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But then there's, I know that that's not where I need to be, right? So I've done that. So it's like, no, I'm still very, very new with owning restaurants, and I'm still learning that.
Or I guess a better question is, like, do you think you'll ever find yourself operating a restaurant that isn't Cuban or Filipino?
That's a possibility, yeah, for sure. I would say I would definitely be like, yeah. Why make rules like that? You know, right? I mean, like, for sure.
Yeah, it's after asking the whole authenticity question to many people, I've come to realize that authentic is like authentic to you. Yeah. Not necessarily to a culture or a generation or, it's like that you get lost in the weeds.
That kind of stuff, man, like, I'm not even...
You're not worried about it,
I'm not worried about it. Like, I am who I am. It's like, I have Filipinos coming like, you don't speak Tagalog at all? Like, what do you... Like, I'm sorry. My parents were so worried that we didn't... I'm like, I had trouble with English. So, like, you want me to know both? Like, I wish I knew. You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that. Like, doesn't mean I didn't grow up in a Filipino household. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we're very Filipino. We eat Filipino food all the time. But it's like, when people talk about, when they want to question my authenticity, I just don't even care. It's like, I don't even acknowledge it.
Where does your sense of pride come from? And if I were to guess, is it from fatherhood, or is it something in addition to that? Pride to live. I guess like you're like
my family,
right?
My family.
Okay,
that's it.
Yeah,
Juliet's a big part of it, but my parents, they worked so hard for us. We were a very tight knit family.
Okay.
We grew up in Canada. They moved from the Philippines to start like a whole new life, and it was just like that in itself is just like, that makes me want to just be great all the time because they did that for us. So I want to do it for my daughter, and every day is a blessing, man. And like, I take pride in what they accomplished. So in a way, you don't want to let them down.
Yeah, you don't want it to be in vain. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's precious. You know what I mean? So it's like that's where I get my pride in. Pride in like whatever pride means, right? But like it's definitely a family thing. Trying to do well for my family, do well for our daughter, and just succeed for them. And like my parents are so funny. Like they think it's just like they get such a kick of coming to the restaurant, right? And they're not even eating; they're just looking at people's reactions, right? They're just like, it's just like,
you like it?
Yeah. You're right. Like, oh, Lawrence, like this one table said how great everything was. Like, oh, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny. So like,
it's like they need other people to validate how good your work is.
They just want to, yeah,
which is fine. It's just it is what it's interesting to see that. Yeah,
yeah. It's just like, I don't know if they're surprised, but they're just like,
I think it comes from a place of maybe not validating yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's just like you need to see other people validate it in order for you to feel good with it.
Yeah, for sure. And Asians, we're not so used to like owning. We work for people. That's a lot. That's kind of the culture, I guess, for my parents' generation. So it's out of the box for us to like.
Would you say the same thing about Cubans?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say so.
Okay.
It's just, it's just not like you get a good job, you get paid, and you go home. Like, that's kind of like the way it. So like our generations, maybe it's we're kind of stepping out of the box, and so I think it feels good for them to just be like, wow, you're busy. You know what I mean? Like that's the point, man. Because we would close if we were. We need butts and seats, but like it's fun. It's fun when they get to come and like see. They did the first tasting before we switched over.
Okay, good.
And so they're just like, oh, it's really good. Just like, it's okay. Yeah, people like it.
Oh, glad. It's really cool to hear that.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you see Juliet kind of leaning towards, if you were to guess?
She loves the restaurant. She does. She's trying to host this.
You think in the front and back, or front or back, or both?
She loves cooking. She makes her own food. She makes her own eggs, pancakes in the morning. The last 3 months, man, she's just grown so much. Like she will literally be like, I'm gonna make my dinner tonight. I'm like,
yeah, who am I?
yeah. I'm just like,
do your thing, girl.
Yeah. And this summer, right, there was a break in between before her summer camp started, and we just opened the diner. So it was just like, you got to come. And she was like hosting. She even rang in. She knows how to ring in people.
Oh.
And she got really upset that she thought she was going to work with us the whole summer.
Oh.
I go, first of all, we're probably going to get in trouble for that. And, but she has it in her, man. She's got the bug. She's got a lot of talent. You know what I mean? She's a great singer. She's a great dancer. And, I'm proud of her since day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard for me to talk about my daughter, dude. You can't talk about her all the time.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're good. You're good.
She's amazing. So it's like, I was proud of her from day one.
Yeah.
So she can do whatever she wants. I'll be here no matter what.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
I love that
I don't
so
care.
much.
I don't care what she does, as long as she's happy. So
that's amazing.
Sorry.
There's nothing to be apologetic about. This is why we do this. It's like to find out why people do what they do, and I think I'm gonna be the same way when we start our family, and it's like nothing else really matters.
Yeah. You want them to be healthy. You don't want her. I hate it when she's sad. I just want her to be happy. That's it. And that's the biggest thing. It's just like, you're healthy, you're eating, no one's hurting you, you're having a good time.
What was it like when Daddy was in the hospital?
I mean, I didn't want her to know anything. Yeah. I think she just kind of holds it in.
Sure.
I didn't even want her to, I don't want her to see me like that.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was rough, but like, she knows, she's like, Daddy has issues that he's got to go to hospital for.
Yeah.
And so we're dealing with that. I'm never going to leave you. I just want you, just let him know, like, we have to go there. And I want, when I finally decided to get my colon removed, it was just like, now it's just like that all those times led up to this. So now Daddy's okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's the biggest thing. I was very upfront with her, but like, I don't want her to see me. I don't want her to see me.
Is there,
really.
For you, it's a very personal choice, but like, is there an ideal age where a child, if they're still a child, should understand the mortality of life, like how finite life can be?
She knew that at the very young age.
She knew that.
Because her Lola and Lola are very old. They're older now. They're not old, but 80s. But she would ask, like, how long will they be around with me? You know what I mean? She understands.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just be honest, like, they're getting older, but like, we ain't gonna enjoy the time we have together now.
100%.
You know what I mean? And so she understands. But yeah, I didn't feel my life was in jeopardy. But I just knew that, anytime you have surgery, your life's in jeopardy. But like, at the end of the day, I'm just like, it wasn't that time for me to have those conversations yet with her. But yeah.
Okay.
It is what it is. Like, now I'm better, right? Taking the steps. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we haven't talked about, buddy?
We got intense there. I'm sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about.
No, man. No, we're just happy to be doing what we're doing. I really appreciate you having me on, and it's great chatting with you. I know we had to reschedule a few times. I'm glad I made it.
Good, yeah.
But no, we talked about everything we really need to talk about. I think, it's great to kind of sit with you and get to,
I enjoy holding space, and with every guest that comes on, I get to hear a brief snippet of like why you do what you do, and so the next time I get to experience your work, it just means that much more to us.
Cool.
Yeah, and if anyone decides to listen in, it's the same thing for them too. It's like next time they go to brunch or dinner or do the prefix menu, it's like, yeah, this is amazing. Like, and this is why it's amazing.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. And you guys got to come into the tasting.
We will. We're thinking. My birthday's next month, so I think my wife's looking at Resi's.
Nice. Don't even do that. Just let me know.
Where can people find out or learn or follow you, or where are all the places? Yeah.
So we're in Ravenswood, both our restaurants.
Yeah.
1810 and 1820. We're 1810, 1820.
Easy enough.
You can follow us on IG. That's basically our only one we're really on. Bayan Co. Chicago and Bayan Co. Chicago Diner. That's who we are.
Okay, cool. Lawrence, it was a pleasure.
Pleasure, man.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate you.
Everyone else, thanks for tuning in. We will catch you in the next one. Bye.